Scott Morrison and the Liberal Party establishment are doing everything they can. They're pulling all the stops to stop the democratic process in the Liberal Party. This is just a fraction of what we can expect to come. Scott Morrison essentially has completely stepped in on the state New South Wales Liberal Party, and you probably don't care, but this is why it's important. He stepped in on the New South Wales State Liberal Party and said, no, you can't select who you want to run in the seats that are in your electorates without the permission of the federal Liberal Party. He is completely vetoing the democratic process. He's completely ruining it, and there are lifelong Liberal Party members that are getting their rights under the Liberal Party constitution absolutely trampled. Let me go from the beginning. Scott Morrison has absolutely trampled the rights of the New South Wales State Executive. They run the New South Wales Liberal Party, and they're doing an absolutely terrible job in trampling the New South Wales state rights. Concetta Fierravanti-Wells, the senator that I covered last week, she was 100% right. Scott Morrison is a bully. Everyone at Sky News should be calling this out. If you're listening right now, give this a share. Chris Kenny should be calling this out. Paul Murray, I'm a fan of both of you guys. You should be both calling this out. Last week, when we saw Concetta Fierravanti-Wells stand before the Senate and say, hey, you're actually damaging the democratic process, you're a bully, what Scott Morrison did this morning, in fact, what his operatives did, was the New South Wales director of the Liberal Party got rid of a New South Wales state executive. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that, but there's 20 or so New South Wales state executives. They run the Liberal Party on a state level. He got sacked. Who is this guy? What is he doing? This guy, his name is Matthew Camanzuli. He was sacked by the New South Wales state director because when you're in an election period, you can actually get rid of your own state directors whenever you want. So essentially what ended up happening, and if you're just listening to this now, I'll explain it for you. So Matthew Camanzuli, he was a New South Wales state director. He wanted the New South Wales state, the Liberal Party, to have the right to pick who will run for them in New South Wales. They wanted them to have the right to select their candidates wherever they wanted. Scott Morrison was not happy with that. Scott Morrison, Dom Perrottet, and Scott Morrison's operatives, they have allowed a deal to happen so that the state executive in New South Wales will not get the preferences they want. They will not be able to preference who they want to run for the Liberal Party. Let me explain to you exactly what's going on. Scott Morrison does not like democracy in the Liberal Party. What he has done is he has trampled on the New South Wales Liberal Party, and there's this guy called Matthew Camanzuli who's on the New South Wales State Executive, who as of 8 a.m. this morning was kicked out of the Liberal Party. This is a guy that's given his life to the Liberal Party. This is a guy who has in the past been a massive donor to the Liberal Party. This is a guy who's suing Scott Morrison. Why is he suing Scott Morrison? Because he wanted the right of the New South Wales State Executive, or the Liberal Party State Executive, to pick who they have for the candidate to run in candidates in New South Wales. Scott Morrison disagreed with that. Scott Morrison wants to put people in that kiss Scott Morrison's ring, that worship Scott Morrison. Well, this is completely undemocratic. So essentially in court this week, you probably weren't following this. In the appeals court of New South Wales, it was knocked back. The judge in this particular case said no. The judiciary, the judges, they cannot rule on what's going on party matters, despite the fact that in Victoria they ruled that they can rule on party matters. But in New South Wales, they said no, you can't rule on party matters. This is a dog-eat-dog world within the Liberal Party. Scott Morrison has the right to trample on the rights of the New South Wales Liberal Party. Well, I just found out today that Matthew Camanzuli is actually challenging that in the High Court. But by the New South Wales State Director revoking Matthew Camanzuli's membership, what it's done is they're trying to make it that he has no standing in court. That means it'll throw the case out, essentially. Sorry, I'm really upset with this. because what this is once again Scott Morrison demonstrating that he's a damn bully. And everyone at Sky News, Chris Kenny, Paul Murray, you said that all these attacks from Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells, and you're saying that all these attacks from the leftist media, well, oh, there was nothing. These are attacks from 15 years ago. No, that's absolute crap. Scott Morrison and the Liberal Party establishment are absolutely demolishing democracy in the Liberal Party. They're demolishing democracy to the point that they pass legislation so that the Liberal Democrats, a Freedom Party, can't have their name for the following election. They pass all this legislation so that the GAP, the United Australia Party, all of the other minor parties are suppressed by this legislation. And in their own party, there's no democracy either. Scott Morrison is an absolute bully, and what he has done is absolutely disgusting. Now, I'm doing a very sloppy job of explaining this, guys. Please forgive me. This Friday, I will be explaining it in full, live, with Chad, who has a legal background, and we'll be going through these details. But let me summarize it for you. A man named Matthew Camanzuli, he used to be on the New South Wales State Executive, one of the most important people in the Liberal Party. He's very conservative. He's someone that's been fighting against lockdowns. He's been someone that's been fighting against the mandatory jabs and all of this crap. He's a business owner. And what he's just happened is, as of 8 a.m. this morning, he was kicked out of the Liberal Party for suing the Liberal Party and for suing Scott Morrison because the democratic right of the Liberal Party was taken away from him. This is absolutely disgusting. I can't express how disgusted I am with this. I'll be bringing more details about this as it evolves, but everyone is disgusted by this. Scott Morrison has completely stuffed up. He's completely stuffed up. If you're listening to this right now, give this a share. He has completely stuffed up because not only has he pissed off all the freedom parties, because this is a guy that's for freedom, he's pissed off all of the leftist side because they're like, see, he's a bully, but he's also pissed off people who thought that he was a good guy. They voted for him in the last election. This is, guys, I'm absolutely fuming. I'm not usually this angry. I'm usually a lot more articulate. But Scott Morrison is completely anti-democratic. The state director of New South Wales, he must go from the Liberal Party. He's the one that basically got rid of Matthew Camanzuli, a person who's been a member of the party forever. I'm wishing Matthew Camanzuli the best of luck. I hope that, this gets revoked. I hope that this when you take this to the courts, if you challenge it, I pray that this goes. But this is disgusting. Honestly, guys, if your vote means nothing in the Liberal Party, if you can't select which candidates are running, this is ridiculous. And you know what? I'm not surprised by this. And a lot of people aren't either. Just today, you guys don't know Martin Iles, right? The legendary Martin Iles. He runs the Australian Christian Lobby. He was fighting for Israel Folau's religious freedom rights. Martin Iles came out today and he announced to Chris Kenny, he said, hey, we're actually going to be running a big campaign against the 5 Liberal MPs which haven't voted for freedom of religion. That's right. This is going to be short-term pain for long-term gain. And you know what, Scott Morrison, if you're going to be anti-democratic, if you're going to put members in the Liberal Party in these seats that the Liberal Party in those areas don't even want to support, guys, if there's people in your area that are in the Liberal Party and they build branches and they vote for which candidate they want, and then the Prime Minister comes in with the rest of his cronies and say, no, you can't have that. We want our guy in there, someone that's kissed Scott Morrison's ring. Wouldn't you have a problem with that? A lot of people have said to me, Joel, you've got to preference Liberal over Labor. I don't control the how to vote cards for the Turning Point Australia, but if Scott Morrison is going to put substandard candidates in some of these seats, we've got a serious problem. We've got a serious problem because some of these candidates are really bad. I mean, Trent Zimmerman, for example, or the member for Parramatta, this is ridiculous what's going on. All you need to take from this is share this out. I'm going to explain this in a lot more detail this Friday night live. If you don't catch it, I'll upload it everywhere else. I'm going to be sitting with Chad. We're going to be explaining it. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Scott Morrison is a bully. He is anti-democratic. He's anti-free speech. He's anti-bodily autonomy. I'm disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted by this man. I voted for this guy in 2019 because I thought he was the religious guy. I thought he was the guy with his hand up, praising it in Hillsong. But this guy, I tell you what, it's starting to sound like a lot of those rumors were true. Senator Conchetta Fierravanti Wells really got something going here. I'm going to end it there because before I start swearing, I'm really upset with this. This is absolutely disgusting. Give this a share. There's 800 people listening live now. If you all shared it, it would do a lot better than the crappy Sky News segments about this topic. They're doing a terrible job. Chris Kenny, get your head right. Paul Murray, what are you doing? This is absolutely disgusting. I agree with you guys on most things, but this is disgusting. Tune in on Friday, guys. If you want to subscribe to that, click the link in the description. The link at the top will take you to the channel where we upload these things, Chad Theory. I'll see you later. I'm disgusted. I'm gonna go do something right now. This is